beyond the Zoom we're having now, we're also live on YouTube. And we're live on Instagram, so people can join us. But I'd rather people join us here so they can ask questions and interact with the filmmakers and the panelists directly. But we're live on all these platforms at the moment. Frankie, you have the making on YouTube, right?
It was supposed to have been on YouTube, but I don't think they put it on there yet, because we've got two makings. We've got the one for the actors, and then we've got the one for the crew, so cast and crew. Because I realized that most times when we come up with makings, we focus more on the cast.
Yeah.
I believe that there's so much that's been done, especially when you're talking about behind the scenes. I think the people who are really doing most of the behind the scenes stuff are the crew. But they don't get to be given, people don't get to hear from them and the rest. And for me, most times as a filmmaker, I'm trying to look at those. Like I buy behind the scenes and the rest because I want to see, and I buy things from master classes from directors, DOPs and the rest, because I really want to know how this is done. And so in this case, we had to do like one for the cast and one for the crew. But I don't think it's on YouTube yet.
So right now I'm sharing the screen. Can you see the trailer there?
Yes, I can. No, but this is the trailer of the old one.
The old one.
Yeah, Soldier Story 1.
Okay.
But there's a Soldier Story 2. I think that's on YouTube. Do you have the link to that?
The Soldier Story 2. That's why I typed and this popped up.
No, that's not it. There's a link to a Soldier Story 2 trailer. Yeah, that's it here. That's that one.
Yeah, it's up from the game. Awesome.
Yeah, that's the one.
Brothers and sisters, together we are strong.
Can you hear the audio?
Unite and stop killing one another. The conduct of the rich and powerful is creating a state of anarchy. We need to question the commitment of our leaders and stop celebrating and take our country back.
Did anyone survive?
Mysteriously, they did.
All we need is your order to finish this. Do it. No one lives. Understand?
We get it!
We lost them, sir. They had help.
You caused the catastrophic explosion. Now you are listed as enemy of state #1. What you did.
But you set that off.
I did?
This whole thing is a charade, not an insurgency attack.
Are you sure about this?
Imagine how rich you'll be with full control over the soon-to-be oil-rich region of the country. Just partner with us to progress.
Finally, our country can develop fast.
Wherever they discover oil, you see turmoil. Turmoil? Yes, the problems of oil.
If I were you, I'd be more concerned with them Seven Sisters. They control the world's oil.
We can operate the way we do because they do not trust one another. And that is the key to our dominance.
You come here, you give me dynamite. You give my enemy dynamite. We kill ourselves for what?
This deal is a real chance to grab real power.
We take our chances.
That's beautiful, Frankie. You
Thank
give
you.
me dynamite. You give my enemies dynamite.
Now, this is what I call real special effects. Not visual effects, special.
Oh, beautiful. So, just quickly, can you run us through the process of the VFX for so first of all, who handled the visual effects, and what was the process like? Was it local, or was it done by some guys outside the country? And who was the visual effects supervisor for the movie?
Okay, the visual effects were done outside the country, with some few visual effects done locally. I did a few of the local ones, the little ones, like, being a director, an editor, and all that yourself. Like, once in a while, you do the basics, and then you outsource the major stuff to people who be a lot better in the field. Creator Studio handled the visual effects, and it turned out that I'd seen a couple of their stuff before, and that was long before we got to working on the film. And I liked what they were doing, and it started off from me looking out for matte painters, because I'd always felt that we needed matte painters in our productions in Nigeria and the rest, because it appears that very few people bother about matte painting in their films, and we really require them based on the kind of stories we tell. So I discovered Creator Studio in Belgrade, in Serbia, sorry. So I spoke with Martin that, look, I think these guys would really work for us. There were some other visual effect companies we knew about, wanted to work with, but eventually we narrowed down to Creator Studio. And they were kind of very helpful, because when we spoke with them, they were a bit shocked that, look, no African company has ever approached us for production. So to them, it was kind of strange that, are we really serious about what we're going to do? Because they hadn't worked with any African company before. But eventually they got convinced, because I let Martin do all that kind of part, because in our production, in our partnership, Martin handles the producing, I do writing and directing, and that's how we've done from the word go. That's how we set up. And I trust his ability to get anybody on board. I have that confidence in him, and when you need people to do this, you get Martin. Martin will bring them on board. So Martin said, don't worry, I'll get through to them. And he spoke with them. Eventually, they got on board. But there was a stumbling block in the process, the funds. Because for what we do in Africa, we don't spend so much money when we're making movies. And here we are, well, Africa, let me use Nigeria. Let me not generalize, because the South Africans do put a lot in their budget. But for Nigeria, for instance, our budgets are limited. So we're having problems with them on that part, because when we mentioned how much we had, they were shocked. And they said, look, we can't work with this kind of budget. But eventually, we sold the idea that, look, if you can work with us, you would have an open market. You'd be opening doors into a market in Nigeria specifically, where there are lots of great filmmakers, film companies, and the rest. And if you come on board, you never know what you can get. We may not be the richest ones coming into the industry, approaching you from the industry. There may be much bigger people too who would buy into this. So they saw that like a good approach. And then they came on board after like 2 months of discussions back and forth and all that. And they agreed to budget, which to us was massive, because that's a budget that can make 3 major movies in Nigeria, just for visual effects, a few visual effects. But to them, it was so shoestring, so they couldn't just get around the idea of how they were going to work with us in this. And like with most Nigerians who would say we give glory to God, I am too, because I believe nothing really happens by chance. For us Nigerians, we know that. I don't know about people from other parts of the world, but we know there's a major play from our creator when we submit to him to help. And that's how they came on board.
Awesome. You know, it's interesting because like personally, there's a project I've been in pre-production for almost like 5 years now. And then I spoke to a couple of VFX companies out there. I do visual effects myself. I do animations and all that. But come on, it gets to a point where you know you have more to do. You can't disturb yourself about those things. And I think that's where you are right now. And what they told me was, you know what, send us like get us like screen grabs from similar movies where similar things have been done. Let us know the duration of each VFX shot and all that. And then you send to us. And then, I sent to, especially a lot of companies in Russia. A lot of companies in Russia are interested in working with us in this part of the world, because those were the ones that really came after. And so, send us all this stuff. And we sent it to them, and check it out. In less than 20 minutes, the the quote was out. So I just realized
that's how they are.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't know. So assuming in my story, someone came out from the car and the car exploded, and when the car exploded, the particles from the explosion formed the monster, and the monster started chasing the hero, and then the hero dived into the water, and as it was about to hit the water became hard and it hit the ground, and then his brain just splat all over the floor, and we thought he was dead. And then the monster walked away, and then all the particles and his brain matter and the blood started coming together to form again, and then he came back to life. If I could get clips from other movies that had similar shots, and with my description of my scene and my shot treatment, and send to these guys in 30 minutes max, I can get a quote. But then, like you said, the quote is enough to shoot a movie. Another movie.
You know it.
Yeah. So I want to find out, you as the director, how much involvement how involved were you in the determination of the final shot? They do all this stuff and all that, and then the shot has to be vetted and like, what, this is it, final. How much control and how much influence did you, because I know you have to give the VFX creator the liberty. You've called him as a professional to do his job, but then as the director, there's something in your brain. And if it does not translate exactly the way it is in your mind, you will never accept it. So how much liberty did you give to the guy in charge of the VFX, and how much were you involved? So you know what, I'll force you to this point, then I'll leave you alone as a professional.
Stanley, we besides this online talk now, we have talked about different things together. We've met, we've done things, so the kind of person I am, and I know the kind of person you are when it comes to directing and filmmaking. You don't give too much liberty. It's not in the negative way. You just, because you've got ideas of what you want to do, and you want to make sure to get this all the way to the end. And I know there are a couple of directors, sometimes I just get confused when I speak with some directors. They say they are actors, directors, or character directors, or whatever it is. I really don't understand that as a director. I come from the school where the director is involved in every aspect of his filmmaking. Like, I studied film and I studied cinematography as well, so I do cinematography. So I can DOP my film, I edit my film, and do all that part. So I play that kind of role. So I'm very technical in what I do. From my shot blockings, so for every time you see my film, you would understand that, you would appreciate that if Frank is involved in this, because from my blockings, I don't like some directors just let the DOP handle every other thing, but it's not like it's not good to do that, but I can't do that because I already have the vision. So I work with DOPs who totally understand what I'm going for, and they're really good at what it is. And we are all on board in the same direction. So we work easily, like Paul Wildman, and I've worked with him for a while now, and I had to work with two DOPs. I'll come to that eventually. But in the case of visual effects, there was always this back and forth with them. Because like, it started off first with my storyboarding everything. I had to storyboard it. That first gave them the confidence.
Hold on. So you just mentioned something very interesting, storyboarding. Someone actually told me was a guy, you just waste your time, they do this story, but what they do self. You see, so again, it's important that we're mentioning all these things, because someone will go out there saying he wants to do a movie with a lot of visual effects, and in his mind, it's not necessary to do storyboards. And beyond the storyboards, take it to the next level and do your animatics and be sure of exactly how everything's going to translate. So I just paused there when I heard the word storyboard. And please, can you just throw some light into how important storyboarding is to it's important to filmmaking generally, but specifically when you have a movie that has a lot of visual effects, how crucial is it to have your storyboards down?
That's a good one, because from my understanding of filmmaking, especially when you move into visual effects, we know about storyboarding in making the film. And some people kind of overlook that. But if you go with storyboarding in making your film from the word go, you'll be surprised how well that film's going to turn out, because it actually guides you from the beginning to the end. You have a picture of what you're doing. So at the end of the day, you know exactly what you're going to be having. But when you shoot with what is in your head, it's difficult. It's like an architect that never had a plan, a drawing plan. Then the engineers come and then start building a house. How are you going to build that? How do you build a house without a plan?
It's like Lagos. It's like Lagos.
That's it.
It's sitting without plan somehow.
That's where you have the problem. And that's why you notice that many people wonder why some other people make films that look a lot better than others. It's not because they're better than you, but they're putting more time. Like pre-production requires a lot more time. So when you
Sorry, how long did you spend in pre-production?
We spent I think we spent approximately 6 months in pre-production.
And could you just break down what your pre-production schedule was like? Not too detailed.
So it started with Martin's coming like, because like at a point, we were not ready to get started with the Soldier Story 2 after we'd done the first Soldier Story. So Martin and some other partners involved in the project were speaking to people for funding so we can get this done. And to be candid,
sorry, I'm just going to pause my video a bit because I want to search the internet for more of your videos so that we can share the screen with the participants. So I'm going to pause my video briefly so that I don't distract.
Okay. So, well, like I was saying, when we were getting started, at the point we were not ready because we knew this was going to take a lot. Because when we first discussed about making a Soldier Story 2, the sequel, because the whole idea was when we started with the Soldier Story 1, when I wrote the first one, I had actually made plans for a trilogy to kick off the whole project and hopefully run into a continuous process where you have a franchise movie. So I discussed that with Martin because when we started first, it actually started with, let me take you a little bit back to when the former administration, under President Goodluck Jonathan, they had a project called Project Act Nollywood, where filmmakers were asked to pitch for money, for what you call seed money to make films. And I'd come in from the UK then, and I was looking for funds to make my movie, but nothing was happening. It was a bit difficult. I had just a little money, and it wasn't going to be enough to make my movie. So I eventually got the seed funding from Project Act Nollywood, which was pretty small because it wasn't going to be able to take me anywhere. So I called my friend Martin. Martin was in the US then, had come back to Nigeria as well. We were friends. We'd be talking about doing working together. And he's been helping a lot of Nigerian filmmakers put projects together in the US and the rest. So he came back to Nigeria, and here we were. And I told Martin, like, look, I've got this X amount, plus what I got from Project Act Nollywood from the federal government. And this is a dream. And what do we do? Because this is what we've been thinking about doing all the while. So Martin said, yes, he was spending some funds from the job that just done for a bank in Nigeria. That once that comes in, he wants to be involved. Let's kick start. So that's how it first started. So pre-production. That's what Soldier Story 1 is going to run through this Soldier Story 2 now. So we came together and put that little money together. But we needed some 2 other people at least to get on board. Eventually, we found friends who got on board. And we started moving, and we made Soldier Story 1. So when it came up, it was very successful in terms of artistic aspects, arts and the rest, and awards and all that. It was amazing. But we had just jumped into the deep waters and were struggling to swim. What we can say is we were successful because we broke even. But did we make enough money to make another film? No, we didn't. So we made enough to pay off everyone who had put money into it, and the whole project never ran at a loss. And we still make some little monies in between, which films do. So here we were, thinking of doing the second part, and Martin jump-started it. He spoke to one politician who said, yeah, he was going to bankroll the whole project. Then he told Martin that, look, his wife likes a particular actor in the US, a comedian. So if we can get that comedian on board, he will be willing to put his money down. And this is one of the biggest comedians we know, actor comedian. So we're wondering how we were going to get this person on board, considering how much it was going to cost. But Martin said, well, if he says he's going to bankroll it, why not? So Martin went ahead. So you can see
was
how
the one to make the payment, right?
Yes.
Oh,
So
of
that's the thing.
course.
So you can see
And
how
he
the
wanted the
now.
output.
So, so here we were. Martin now went ahead and got in touch with this the agent of the comedian. But the agent said, well, the guy was not going to be available for the next 5 months. So if we were going to be ready to wait for the next 5 months, he probably will get us the guy to come in, and he can only come to Nigeria for like a week and will be out, which was amazing. So we thought it was a fantastic stuff. But here we were not going to be able to push because we had already scheduled that we were going to shoot a lot earlier and everything. So Martin got back to them and said, no, it wasn't going to work, which was a good thing because as I tell you, that sponsor never came true. So you can imagine what happened.
Wait first. Let me laugh.
We have a story to tell, right?
So the guy just left you guys out in the cold.
And so because of him, we had gotten in touch with every other person, different companies, different people, spoken with the visual effect companies and the rest. So we were hooked to all these people, and there was no funds coming in. So you can imagine how that was difficult now. So we had just a little from our own process, and one of our executive directors as well, because I am an executive director, Martin is, and one other one who never wants to be mentioned. He just stays behind the scenes, gets involved.
It's me.
So we were now 3. The 4th one had already moved on to other things because he moved his family to the United States. So he was really busy with all that. So he wasn't involved this time. So we're now 3, and we had a bigger project. And I'd written a script that was so bogus in terms of what it was going to require. So we were now stuck. With the little amount we had, we jumped into the pool and started thrashing about, trying to survive, not to sink. So we started shooting with that amount. And we're still waiting because this guy kept still giving us, we had written MOUs and everything. I said, don't worry, the money is coming, the money is coming. So we kept on waiting and this money wasn't coming and we started shooting.
Okay, so now let me fast track a bit. Bit. When you mentioned the word MOU, so now let's jump back to this VFX thing. What kind of MOU did you have with the product, with the
Okay, cool. We had different stages of payment. So in the MOU, they agreed to that X amount was going to be paid. And what I'm talking about here is over $100,000. So you'll be able to have an idea what we're talking about just for the visual effects. So, and they agreed on the different stages, okay? From once we agree on the certain amount will be paid, and the visual effects director will come in, supervisor will come in from Sabia and will be with us. He did. So he comes in. So within that period, in the next 3 months, they feel that the shots would have been finished. And even while you're shooting, you'll be sending in projects to them. And then we were supposed to pay them in 3 stages. And then the final stage was when they submit. So that was the MOU we had with them. So
okay, now let me throw in another question before I forget. Now they sent you their terms of for the MOU, right? Yeah. How much did you push? Because I'm interested in the visual effects now. Someone sees your film and says, you know what, I want to follow the route of these guys and all that. So the thing is, we need to know the things you did that someone else can follow.
Also,
we need to know some other things you didn't do that you could have done, maybe you didn't take advantage of. Do you think there was anything you could have taken advantage of in terms of the MOU that you did not?
I think there wasn't anything we could have taken advantage of. Rather, we actually defaulted. We couldn't meet up because of specific times. But there was really nothing because it was a simple MOU. It wasn't really much of a problem. Pay us 50%. Later on, pay another 25, then pay the next 25 at the end.
Okay, but did you ever consider presenting them with the idea of getting back ends instead of as opposed to upfront? You know, you could have negotiated maybe back end.
Here's the thing with back end with most foreign companies. They right now don't necessarily, even the banks, even the foreign banks, we have a couple of foreign banks that operate in Nigeria. You know that. Then there are the local banks in Nigeria as well. Even those ones, when they run projects, it's got to do with financing and the rest. Their templates are different from what our local banks' templates are. Why? For one reason, back ends are a bit difficult for foreign companies when it comes to operating in Nigeria because we first haven't built that image of them trusting a stable economy for the money to come back to them. So they don't trust that the business is going to work yet in terms of our economy. Is it strong enough in their eyes and all that? So that is a problem usually. Because when you talk about back ends, they're like, well, we'd rather we just get this done. You pay us and just reduce. We try and give you a cut rather than be involved in how.
So the deal is they'd rather go for a discount than agreeing to a back end deal.
Exactly, because we haven't been able to sell our industry strong enough, as financially viable enough for them to be able to trust that.
That the back end favored.
You're talking about companies here who, like this one, they had a movie, I've forgotten the title of that movie that was nominated, that they worked on, that was nominated for an Oscar a couple of years ago. So they see big budgets. They really see big budgets. So when you're talking about back end to them, they kind of first wonder, how much do you make usually from your films? And you tell them, okay, maybe the highest grossing Nigerian film probably made maybe 400 or 500 and something million naira. They ask you, how much is that in dollars? You tell them, they're like, well, even my person here gets that amount. So you see how it becomes difficult.
So in essence, if the back end is not an alternative, then you can't even start discussing any opportunity of equity investment if the back end is not even an opportunity.
That's the problem. So the only other thing that most of them I've noticed makes them want to give us discounts and the rest want to get involved is the fact that it's a new market. They say, okay, we're doing something for the Africans. And we'll be using that. I'll tell my colleagues, it works. You may not believe it. You may think that you're putting yourself out, but when you say, look, our industry is young, it hasn't grown. It'd be good for you to at least reach out to those areas. They feel happy doing that a lot more.
You know what I'm going to do? Very quickly, did they get the chance to see the prequel, the part one of A Soldier's Story?
Yes, they did, because when we spoke with them, they asked for that. Because they wanted to know.
And what did that do to their perception in wanting to work with you on the sequel?
That's the thing, because they like the story. Basically, there are things that some of these people look at. They look at your story first. How did you treat it? Did you deal with it well? Did they enjoy it? Did they like it? They could tell you, okay.
You know what we're going to do? Let's quickly show everybody the trailer of the first part of the prequel of Soldier's Story 1 so they can see what we're talking about.
Cool.
The trailer of the first part of the prequel of Soldier's Story 1 so we can see what we're talking about. Trailer of the first part of the prequel of Soldier's Story 1 so we can see what we're talking about.
But you have just been promoted. Is this what the promotion is about?
I pledged to serve my nation against the man and called upon to do so.
I need you. What about me? I need you.
So look at this with pride, that your husband has been chosen to serve this great nation. Because a huge sacrifice. Not just you, but every other woman out there.
I don't think I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I said that was a very beautiful, nice visual effects. But I want to ask a question. Between the visual effects of a Soldier Story 1 and the second one, this one that's coming out in December, what do you think is the disparity?
A Soldier Story 1 is tried with the best that we could, if you can. Well, with the Soldier Story 1, you could do a lot of such with Video Copilot and After Effects. For Soldier Story 2, you can't do that. You go the 3D work, you're working with 3Ds and a lot of other rendering that are way, 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 way ahead of this. Because here we are, we have a situation where we shot on the bridge, the bridge explodes, and cars hit the bridge and break that and all that. That is 3D. So you can't do that. You can't do that with After Effects. You can use After Effects and other, like Maya and the rest, to come to that, but you can't rely on After Effects alone. But in the Soldier Story 1, I worked with After Effects alone because I did most of the visual effects in that. And then I had one other guy in California that worked with me on that. But I did most of those ones. And then we did more of special effects as well with Akim Effects, working on them locally, creating a template first, and then working on that. But when it came to the second one...
Just feel it out. What's the disparity?
It's huge. It's huge.
So people should get ready.
Yes, I believe we could have done better, and we will do better by the next one.
Okay, someone is asking the question, have you considered using Blender in your workflow?
Yeah, because, but the thing is, I have decided of late to start pulling out of getting too involved in certain aspects of filmmaking and specializing on specifics. Because I realized, okay, initially I was so involved because when I first got back to Nigeria from the UK and was working, there were a few people that I knew that could do certain things. Then I met you, I met other people. So, Akin, Alabi, and the rest. And you begin to know people. Yes, you begin to know that synergy begins to happen. You begin to realize that, okay, fine. I don't necessarily have to do everything. Now that I know there are some other people who can come on board and do their own parts and the rest. And that's what it should be in the industry anyway. So I have come to that position now where I feel that, okay, no, I don't have to bother with too much of this. I could create the template, do the little bit, and then throw that off to some other person that will handle this while I'm focusing on the other aspects, and then it will get well done. So, which is one of the reasons why we actually even pushed that to a visual effect company to just handle this thing. And
okay. So we have 2 more minutes. We have 2 more minutes to the end of this session. Now, let me ask you a question. How much do you think the visual effects of A Soldier Story 2 will contribute to the viewership at the cinemas and its eventual success in the box office?
I think it will contribute a lot, but let's not forget one thing. If a movie is not good, regardless of how good your visual effects are, the story must be good. That's it. So I just use visual effects to interpret. Yes, just support the story, to interpret the story. But the story itself is solid. You have a good story from the beginning to the end. And then many Nigerians, when they see it now, they'll be thinking that, okay, was it because of what happened just a couple of, is it a month or so ago that we did? No, we shot this film.
Yeah, because the trailer actually makes it look like it was inspired by these recent activities.
So you can imagine that. We shot it 3 years ago. The trailer was ready a year ago. And the trailer was done in the US by a company called Revolve. So you see.
I think at the end of the day, you said something when you started. You said, when you guys decided to do this, you just placed it in the hands of the one who was greater than all of us. And there's nothing, from my understanding as a producer, there's nothing that works better for a movie than for it to be timely. So already with the tension and everything going on and the answer stuff, your movie has actually become very timely. It has a niche for what's happening at the moment, and I want to believe that that's going to dovetail into the viewership at the cinema and the general acceptance of the movie. So just closing remarks. We've already overshot our time. Just closing remarks so we can show the trailer one more time before we end the session.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate this opportunity that you've given us to talk about this. And we hope we have more time to talk more about how we can make films and work together and the synergy in Nigeria, because that's what we need and that's what we deserve. Well, we look forward to seeing you at the cinemas, and thanks, man.
Okay, one quick question that just came in. Someone said, how did COVID affect the release?
Well, to be candid, it was actually supposed to come out a lot earlier. Then COVID happened. So basically the same thing you said, and I said from the beginning, that we are being controlled. We are the hands of God in this. Some people don't believe that. I have friends who don't, but I do sincerely believe it, because this film was supposed to come out in December last year, but for certain reasons, it didn't come out. So you can picture that. Then COVID came in and then stopped. It was supposed to come out again for about...
And then NSAS came in.
It didn't. Then NSAS came in, and this is exactly...
And it made it very timely.
That's what we say. We never played any role in that.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Thanks, Frankie.
Thanks.
Man. And
thanks for giving me this opportunity.
I hope you'll be able to join us tomorrow when we have the session with Dimeji Abijibola, who was a producer, director, and writer, VFX specialist for Ratnik. Me and Dimeji will go way back. We worked at the same company when we were both staff back in the day before we both left to start our own things and all that. And I really want you to be around when we're having a session. So at least expert to expert. That's what I really want to see happen. Expert to expert talking, so that people who are listening or watching can learn it, too, from your wealth of experience. Thanks, Frankie. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show the trailer one more time for those who missed it the first time. And everybody rush to the cinemas when it hits the cinemas in December, and don't let this industry down. That's all I'll say. Don't let this industry down, because this is the future. So I'm going to mute my video for a second and go to share my screen with the trailer of A Soldier Story 2. And Frankie, don't go anywhere after the trailer. I'm just going to say goodbye before you leave, so don't run off.
Okay.
You want someone you'll be sleeping with, right?
Brothers and sisters,
See, Johnson, I have always known that you have the plan
we
of filing
are
our matrimonial bed. But you know what?
unite and stop killing
You
one
have
another.
failed.
The conduct
So
of
what?
the rich and powerful
All right
is
now, I'm busy.
a state of anarchy. We need to question the commitment of our leaders.
Okay. I think there's something else showing on the background. I'll need to take care of that quickly so that we don't hear that other audio. Yeah. Don't worry. Sorry for the glitch, for the break in transmission. It was not due to power failure. It was due to my failure. So now we are back with the trailer of Soldier's Story 2. Hooray!
Brothers and sisters, together we are strong. Unite and stop killing one another. The conduct of the rich and powerful is creating a state of anarchy. We need to question the commitment of our leaders and stop celebrating criminality. So we must do something and take our country back.
Did anyone survive?
Mysteriously, they did.
All we need is your order to finish this. No one lives. Understand?
We lost them, sir. They had help. You caused the catastrophic explosion. Now you are listed as enemy of state #1. What you did.
So you set that up.
I did?
This whole thing is a charade, not an insurgency attack.
Are you sure about this?
Imagine how rich you'll be. Full control over the soon-to-be oil-rich region of the country. Just partner with us to progress.
Finally, our country can develop fast.
Wherever they discover oil, you see turmoil. Turmoil? Yes, the problems of oil.
If I were you, I'd be more concerned with them seven sisters. They control the world's oil.
We can operate the way we do because they do not trust one another. And that is the key to our dominance.
You come here, you give me dynamite. You give my enemy dynamite. We kill ourselves for war. This deal is a real chance to grab real power. We take our chances.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have come to the end of this session with Martin and Frankie and the making and the visual effects of a Stoja Story 2. So, Frankie, any final words?
Well, all I can say is I'm grateful for the reception, the way we've been accepted by Nigerians, because if you do anything and your people accept you, that's what matters. If your people don't, too bad. So I'm happy for that. And we look forward, Stan. I look forward to us working together sometime in the near future. All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Frankie, see you at the cinemas on the opening day. Okay, guys, it's been a nice time.
11th of December. Yeah. Stan, the date is 11th of December, 2020.
Yeah, please shout that date again, 11th
of December 11th, December 11th, 2020.
Okay, guys, make it a date. And God bless, one love. So, guys, let's jump back to Filmstagram. Don't forget, movies are still screening. To take part, you have to be registered on the portal, www.filmstagram.com. And secondly, you can follow all the sessions, the Zoom sessions, the meetings, the industry session, everything live on Filmstagram. But then when we're having an interactive session, it's preferable that you join us on Zoom. So, guys, peace. See you